Hola, bienvenidos
a Vuelta a España.
Preview show. This year's Vuelta a España looks set to be an absolute cracker. The third and final Grand Tour of the year will cover 3,274 kilometres, or a little under 2,100 miles, starting on Saturday the 22nd of August in Marbella and finishing just over 3 weeks later in Madrid.
Yeah, now, the reason we think this is going to be an absolute cracker is partly down to the punchy and exciting stages, but also the fact that the list of overall contenders, which frankly, it's on a par with the Tour de France. It's going to be absolutely mint.
It's going to be a belter.
So, who are the favourites then?
Good question, Si.
Oh, thanks, mate.
Well, the Vuelta organisers and fans alike are going to be extremely pleased. The top three of the Tour de France are all riding. How cool is that? So Alejandro Valverde from Movistar, Nacer Quintana, the runner-up, and race winner Chris Froome. It's going to be a battle royale.
Yeah, and we can also throw into the mix Vincenzo Nibali, fourth at this year's Tour de France, but of course a former winner of the Vuelta himself. Now he comes along with a really strong Astana squad. They've also got Fabio and Mikel Landa, who you may well remember finished on the second and third step of the podium at this year's Giro. And also from BMC we've got TJ Van Garderen. This is going to be his first Grand Tour outside the Tour de France, and he's going to be trying to make amends for that race where he had to pull out after a very promising first 10 days or so due to sickness.
Yeah. So really then, the only Grand Tour big hitter missing is Alberto Contador. I'm sorry about that, Matt. I know it's going to be difficult for you not catching up with your bosom buddy there, but Alberto Contador is taking a well-earned rest, having attempted that Giro Tour double. So what about other riders to watch then? It's fair to say that this sprinting lineup isn't exactly as strong as the GC lineup.
But what it will make for is some pretty unpredictable bunch sprints. Remember, we've got 6 flat stages. There's a lot of opportunity for possibly riders on the fringes, but definitely look out for Chris Boakmans of Lotto Soudal as an outsider, and Nacer Bouhanni is going to have a fair bit of pressure after crashing out and breaking his wrist in the Tour de France, running for Cofidis. He should take a stage, and also Matteo Pelucci of Yam Cycling, the real fast Italian sprinter. He'll be definitely in the hunt for a stage win too.
Yeah, he won a couple of stages very recently at the Tour of Poland, so obviously a man on form. Now, 2 more riders who aren't sprinters but are making their return to racing from injury, which they picked up in the very first week of the Tour de France. Tom Dumoulin of Giant Alpecin, and also Fabian Cancellara, returning a second time this year from injury for Trek Factory Racing. Now, I'll certainly look out for those two in the last week of racing.
Anyway, not necessarily riders to watch, but if I can just chip in, lads, with something a bit nerdy, disc brakes are one to watch, because we have it on good authority that Trek Factory Racing are likely to test disc brakes in the Pro Peloton in the Vuelta a España. So that could be pretty cool. That's a bit landmark, actually.
Oh, definitely. We'll have our ears to the ground and eyes to the wheels, won't we, when we're down on the ground in Spain.
The key part of the race looks like it's going to be a trio of high mountain stages on 14, 15 and 16. Now stage 14 finishes on top of the Fuente del Chiva, which is the third time that ski resort has been used in the Vuelta a España. Stage 15 finishes on top of the Alto de Sotres, and that is an 11-kilometre climb with pitches of over 20%. Yeah, and then 16, which is the last day before the final rest day, features no less than 7 categorised climbs, including the HC Alto Ermita de Alba, which is only 6.3 kilometres long, but it averages 11%, and again with pitches of up to 20. So it's going to help to be about, what, 58 kilos?
That's simply rude, isn't it? And add to the fact as well, Si, that the final individual time trial, 39 kilometres, comes a day after the rest day, and also within the final week there are several difficult mountain challenges. You're going to have to be in very, very good form to be, with a shout at the GC. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see how the riders who've just come off the back of the Tour de France fare with the likes of Mikel Landa and Fabio, considering they've pretty much had a lot more time to recover since the Giro.
Yeah, but actually one of the stages that I am most looking forward to out of the 3 weeks comes already on day 2. And I think we briefly mentioned it a little bit earlier on, but that is the first medium mountain stage of the race. And it finishes up a climb to Campinito del Rey. Now I've been trying to look into it. I haven't been able to find too many details on the climb itself, but from what I can see, it looks to be a kind of 4-kilometre test. And given that the riders are going to be so fresh, I'm predicting some really explosive racing up there, and we should actually get a really good indicator as to exactly who is on form and gunning for the overall victory at the race. And if you want an extra little fact,
yes, please.
There are 9 summit finishes at the race. 4 of those come in the very first week, and none of the 9, despite what you said earlier, Si, the Alto del Campo has been used a few times previously, but it's never gone up as far as it has this year. So none of the 9 summit finishes have ever been used before. How cool is that fact? It's good.
It's a pretty good fact, but you can't actually call your own fact cool, Dan.
Wow,
That's a fair point.
Not really my fact. I got it off the internet earlier. Yeah. It's good though.
Secrets exposed. Well, it's that time of the show. You know what time it is, don't you? It's prediction time. Ooh. Starting off with Simon. Who do you reckon?
I think I'd like to say Vincenzo Nibali, but I actually think probably Chris Froome. I think he was seriously good in the Tour de France. I know he was possibly a little bit tired for that final week, but I think he's got enough time to recover and then just keep his amazing form topped up.
Woody, what do you reckon?
Well, I am going for Fabio Aru. Now, he's a young guy, so he's improving constantly. Second overall at the Giro d'Italia this year, but importantly for me, he's had time to recover from that effort, take a break, build up gradually again, do a little preparation race in the form of the Tour of Poland where he was going very well, and I think he's going to be absolutely cracking during the Vuelta.
Nice choice, Dan. Well explained as well.
What got him, Matt? What were you?
I'm going for Nairo Quintana. I just think he didn't do the Giro, didn't defend his title that he won last year, so he's quite rested up, and just his progression, he's been on the ascendancy for the entire year. He's trained a lot at home, rode superbly, especially at the back end of the Tour de France, and the way he was climbing, I think it's just a glimpse of things to come. So I think he's going to go into the Vuelta ably backed up by a very, very strong Movistar team, and always strong. Valverde, I think, will ride for Quintana. I think Quintana is going to win. I just think he's on the up.
Yeah, we're going to put a wager on it? No, we're not.
Outside of Landa as well, as a backup.
Oh, Dan's already chosen him. You can't do that.
Anyway, so those are the riders who we think are going to win the Vuelta. But are there any stages in particular or places that the Vuelta visits that you're particularly looking forward to?
Well, I've got a particular penchant for Andalusia actually. So although I'm not going out there, you fortunately got that one, Matt. I just can't wait for it to start rattling around. Some amazing climbs around there. I love it.
I just love going to Spain, not just for the weather, just for the culture, the food, the wine, the sherry, and also the jamon in Andalusia. It's absolutely gorgeous.
True that.
I'm just looking forward to the cuisine primarily, and then with a bit of bike racing on the side.
It's going to be quite an interesting sport actually, watching you increase in size from the first video you delivered to the last one.
I'm out there for about 5 or 6 days as well. There is a danger of that happening.
That's
but
a lot
I'll try and do a bit of riding.
Well, whilst you might be looking forward to the stuff outside of the racing predominantly, I'm actually looking forward to the racing, and not just those explosive hilltop finishes, because the Vuelta, as we can often see on our televisions, always throws up some very exposed roads. As you both know, I do like a bit of wind.
Yeah,
when it breaks the peloton into echelons. Just like day 2 of this year's Tour de France, I'm sure there's going to be a day at the Vuelta where the GC rides are squirming because it's outside of their comfort zone, and I'm looking forward to that.
I think don't forget as well, it's the last Grand Tour of the year obviously, and it is a shop window for many, many riders who are out of contract and looking to try and get into a team for next year. So I think that gives it that extra dynamic, unpredictable element. I think it's going to be a great race.
Is that why you give it some extra welly on the videos of the Vuelta?
I think so, yeah. Just
going for next year's contract.
Just going for next year's deal.
You're not signed for next year yet?
Not signed.
No. They put me on a 3-year. Did they give you one?
Only got 1 year.
Yeah.
How come you got a 3-year deal?
Well, it's done on previous performances.
Yeah, you might need to really put it out for the Vuelta just to make sure.
I have to try and at least pick up a stage. Might go for the hotspots. Is there a hotspots jersey at the Vuelta?
So there you have it, Froome, Quintana, Aru, those are our predictions for the overall at this year's race. That's the end of our preview, but stay tuned to GCN because we're going to have loads of content coming to you direct from the race itself.
Yeah, and for more Vuelta content, albeit a little bit old, 2014, lots of interesting stuff, click up here for our Vuelta playlist.
Yeah, or for the video that we think has probably made Trek Factory Racing dip their toe into the disc brake waters. Click down there, me and Dan testing our disc brakes ready for the Pro Peloton.
Yeah, and if you want to make sure that all the Vuelta content goes direct to your inbox so that you don't miss any of it, all you've got to do is subscribe. It's absolutely free, and all you've got to do that is click on, get rid of that please, because I was going to say the Spanish flag.
Oh, that was last
Yeah.
time.
Can you turn the camera on this side?
Yeah, if you turn that, we will look like a human flag, won't we?
No, I'm not doing that. I said turn the camera on this side.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Can we just do it in post?
Yeah, I think we probably can actually.
Okay.
Good.